When we talk about AI and productivity, it's usually just about outputs. But in this explainer, we're going to break it down differently. We're going to analyze it as a complete system, one with an input, a process, and a hidden mechanism that can create something we'll call false productivity.
So right away, we hit this central paradox that we're going to deconstruct. On the surface, it looks like AI is just boosting output, which is great. But underneath, it can actually chip away at the very cognitive processes that build our skills. What you end up with is a system where the visible results look better and better, while internal capability is quietly going down.
Okay, so let's start by dissecting the illusion itself. We need to examine the observable signals that make AI-driven work feel so incredibly productive.
So why does it feel so much higher? Well, it's because AI is fantastic at optimizing for these surface-level signals. Tasks get done way faster. The outputs are clean and well-structured. You get answers immediately. And our brains are wired to see these tangible things and interpret them as high efficiency. This whole illusion is really created by simple measurement error. See, we evaluate our productivity using proxies, things like speed and volume. But here's the catch. Those proxies only tell you that a task is complete. What they hide is the absence of deep thinking, of genuine understanding, and, crucially, of any real skill growth.
All right, so we've seen the surface illusion. Now let's peel back that layer and look at the underlying system that's actually producing it. We're going to map this out step by step.
Here it is, the complete system. It kicks off with an AI-generated input. This triggers the core process, which is cognitive offloading. By delegating the thinking, constraints like struggle and delay are just gone. Then a feedback loop kicks in, rewarding this speed, which reinforces the whole cycle. And what comes out the other end? An output that's high in quantity, but really low in cognitive depth.
Now, if we zoom in, we can pinpoint the system's single critical point of failure. It's right there, in the process step. By offloading all the cognitive work, the system completely bypasses the essential act of internal thinking, the very thing required for learning and developing a skill.
Okay, so that's the what. Now we get to the deepest layer of this explanation, the why. What is the specific cognitive mechanism that's driving this entire system? Why does this even happen?
That mechanism has a name, cognitive offloading. And this isn't just some clever phrase, it's a formal term for the process of handing off mental work like reasoning or analysis or problem solving to an external tool. And in this case, the AI becomes that external system. And look, this isn't just a theory. You can actually measure its effect. Research shows this incredibly strong negative correlation, negative 0.68, between AI usage and critical thinking. And the mediating factor, the thing connecting them, is cognitive offloading. As it goes up, critical thinking goes down.
So, why is our brain so easily tricked by this? Well, it comes down to the simple, efficient shortcuts it uses to operate, which are called heuristics. Our brains are basically wired to believe that fast is good, easy means effective, and a finished task is a productive one. AI just happens to exploit these mental shortcuts perfectly.
And right here, you can see the fundamental conflict. The brain's heuristics are all about seeking ease, speed, and completion. But real learning, the kind that sticks, requires the exact opposite. It needs effort, it needs active processing, and it needs a bit of difficulty. Without that cognitive friction, knowledge just doesn't consolidate.
Now that we understand the system and the mechanism, let's look at the long-term consequence. This whole thing creates a self-reinforcing cycle of dependency and skill degradation.
This loop explains how the behavior becomes so ingrained. First, the AI gives you an instant result. The task feels done, and your brain gives you a little reward signal for being so efficient. So next time, you're encouraged to reduce your effort even more, which just increases your reliance on the AI. And as that reliance grows, your independent thinking declines, making you even more dependent. This outcome now has a name, AI de-skilling, and it perfectly captures the paradox we started with. You're maintaining a high output, but at the same time, your personal ability is declining. You are producing, but you are not growing.
So with all that in mind, we can now synthesize this whole analysis. We are going to directly contrast the false system with a correct model of real, capability-building productivity.
The distinction couldn't be more clear. In the false model, the AI performs the thinking. That requires low effort, but it leads straight to dependency. In the real productivity model, the human performs the thinking. Sure, it takes high effort, but it's the only way to actually develop skills and achieve cognitive independence.
So what does a system designed for real productivity actually look like? Well, it looks like this. It starts with a problem, moves through genuine cognitive processing, and it embraces constraints like effort and difficulty. The feedback comes from making mistakes, correcting them, and reflecting. This leads to a slower but much more meaningful output. And the ultimate result? Real capability growth.
And this leads us to the single most important insight. In a real productivity system, cognitive effort isn't a bug to be eliminated. It is the core feature. It's the precise mechanism that builds durable, internal capability. Which brings us to our final principle, a corrected formula to resolve that initial paradox. True productivity is not just output. It is output multiplied by cognitive depth. AI can absolutely inflate that first variable, but if it simultaneously crushes the second one, the net result is an illusion. So the question we're left with is this: are we optimizing for output, or are we building capability?